Welcome to the Purple Political Breakdown. Ladies and gentlemen, the election is over and Donald Trump has won. Now, if you follow this podcast closely and listen to a lot of the episodes that take place, you can pretty much come to the conclusion that myself, I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. I'm not a fan of what he's done to this country. And I'm not a fan of his loyal, blind supporters. But unlike MAGA, who will decide to try to overthrow the government, try to stage an insurrection on January 6th, people who are not a part of MAGA, who did not want Trump to win, I implore you to not follow under the same behavior. That just gives ammunition to the idea that the left, the middle, the anti-Trump Republicans, or even close to similar to what MAGA has done. So what do we have to do? What are we going to do? In my opinion, right now, more than ever, we got to come together. I know it's difficult to say considering the situation. And let's be honest, it's not an ideal one by any means. Not only has Donald Trump won, so hopefully the MAGAs can stop complaining about voter fraud, but also they obtained the House, they obtained the Senate, and they have a Republican majority Supreme Court. Everything went according to plan for Donald Trump. This is the most ideal situation considering he inherited Obama's amazing economy. He was able to use COVID to his advantage. He didn't have to deal with the repercussions and the drastic effects of COVID. Biden did. And then he just gets to take over after Biden already was fixing the economy. And now he has control over the entire government. This couldn't have been planned any perfectly, but we got to hold Donald Trump to the fire. We got to make sure that he is doing things that is in the best interest of the country. We use the media, we use the voices to call him out and make sure he doesn't do the fascist type tendencies or fascist type rhetoric he's been espousing. Now, my personal opinions and how I'm going to deal with it, and I'm going to talk about all the different things Donald Trump said he's going to do, and MAGA, as well as the MAGA detractors, you can determine whether or not he will do this and whether or not you support him doing this. So we'll get into that. So stay tuned. My personal opinions in regards to a lot of the things and a lot of people who align with Trump, this is how I will differentiate it. People who I deem a relationship with, who I deem capable enough to be informed about voting and educating themselves on how the America works and the government works, and they still blindly support Trump, those people I lost all respect for. I don't respect RFK anymore. I don't respect Elon Musk. And some old people that I associated with when I was young, I lost respect for you too. So people, I'm not going to demonize anybody anymore because now it's a waste of time. Now I'll be dropping content that I've already made because why not? I'll drop those content, letting out my frustrations before the election started. But as of right now, as of me making this podcast episode, I'm not going to demonize and I'm not going to engage with the MAGA cult. My opinions have not changed. Nothing has changed. I don't go left and right and I don't have a malleable value system. I still think MAGA is a cult and I still think Trump is terrible. But wasting my time in demonizing MAGA and people who are listening, wasting your time demonizing MAGA at this point is a lost cause. It's either you just lose respect and treat them as a human being and part ways, or you try to bridge the gap. So the people that I mentioned earlier, I'm losing respect and I'm parting ways from you. There's no need for me to associate with someone who I deem has a lack of integrity. The people who are uninformed, who are voting based off feelings, I can still bridge the gap because ultimately those people might be misguided, but at the very least, they want the best interest of the country. So I can communicate with those people. I am not here, and I am not like a lot of people on the left because I've criticized the left a lot on this podcast. They are fractured, and there's a couple reasons why I think Kamala Harris lost, and I'll talk about that as well. But they are fractured, and they're criticizing certain people because they're upset and emotional, and that's just not going to help. It's not. So moving forward, I won't demonize certain people. I'll either part ways and lose respect for you, or I'll try to bridge the gap. Okay. So that's how I'll be handling it. And that's how I recommend you handle it as well. But how did Kamala Harris lose the election? Well, I have two primary reasons I feel like she lost the election. I'm not going to blame groups of people necessarily, but there is certain elements that I do think need to be mentioned. The first thing that I do think needs to be mentioned is to reference something I just said. The left has been fractured for a very, very long time. That's why it's pretty idiotic to even claim that MAGA and the Republicans and their unity behind one man and their blind loyalty is comparable to the left, the Democrats, the liberals, and the progressives. And the reason why I say this, and I want to make something very clear, even though I dislike Trump and I dislike MAGA, that doesn't make me a left leaning or a leftist person, Democrat or liberal. I'm myself. I vote based off my values. The left has been fractured because they have the wokies that I constantly call them, who are just as unhinged as MAGA, so stubborn that they don't want to unify against a principle that makes the most sense in the betterment of the country. They care about themselves as individuals more so than anything else. So anybody saying, like Hassan was saying, that the left should have been more radical, or people saying you should have been a bigger advocate for the Palestinians, you are the exact same people as the MAGA people I lost respect for. The fact that your moral principle, your moral delusion, your feelings are so strong you can't see what's in front of you is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Either voting third party or not voting at all because you're setting a stance. Well, congratulations, crazy woke lefties. Congratulations. Now a man who is way more pro-Israel is voted in office, and you have no one to blame but yourself because in reality, you don't give two shits about anything but looking good and looking like the good guy or good girl. In reality, you don't care about solutions or saving lives. In reality, it's just fake woke. So those people I lost respect for as well. No need to partake in those type of people. They live in their delusion, and it just tells you how splintered and fractured the left is. Now, I'm not necessarily mad at the left being fractured because I think this blind unity and blind loyalty to a side and consolidation of one ideology is foolish. I think ideologies need to conflict and need to compromise. That's why the Republican Party is so dangerous. Everything is all on Trump. I like that willingness to call out your own side. I like that willingness to have differing opinions, but also everybody on the path to a greater future. That's what I like. That's what I think is not happening on the right. And the other reason why Kamala Harris has lost this election is that disinformation and misinformation in this new era is extremely dangerous. Absolutely. It made me think about the years of elections where information is being disseminated towards the people, but not the full factual picture. My guess, at the very least. Now, it may be possible that voters back then were more willing to take the second and third step to find information. But overall, when it comes down to information you are garnering, you're getting fluff from rallies that you can hear easily at any point. And you're hearing social media posts, or more so, ads that are telling you mostly lies and a biased way of viewing something. It definitely makes me question elections in the past. And what point did it get harder and harder for the people to be informed about their elections? You would assume that the election should be easier to be informed about, but the opposite effect is happening. One, people's attention spans are way shorter. They're not willing to go and look at long bits of information to take the second and third step to factually check everything. They're getting instant gratification in terms of content, short form especially. And they are told things from clips and misinformation and lies and manipulation from a man in Trump. And that is how they're getting their source of information. He made you to believe in the most credible source of information, the media. He made you believe that that is corrupt and lying. And that alternative media, which has what's the word? Pressure to be factually correct. They are incentivized by numbers, clout, and they're incentivized by fame and fortune. It's the simplest way I can put it. And those people are the ones driving information. So right now in America, we have an information problem. The ability to inform voters on the truth, to the ability to contextualize information and stuff that is taking place in the country. Because the reality is that people nowadays, and this is a famous quote by Ben Shapiro, people nowadays are not thinking with facts over feelings. Matter of fact, majority of voters made it very clear that they were thinking of feelings over facts. The majority of them just thought on the surface, based off the information that is portrayed and the situation that they are in. Just think about it. The first 3 years of Trump was great. Economy was booming. He inherited Obama's improving economy. The immigration numbers were similar to Obama as well. There was nobody lying and manipulating on a consistent basis to make you fear the government, the media, and all that stuff. But the seeds were being sown. Then COVID took place. Donald Trump gets all the benefit for shutting down the border because of Title 42. And the gas prices were really low because nobody was driving cars. And then you had COVID. You start utilizing the amount of seeds you started implementing, making people distrust everything through your rhetoric. COVID was a bad situation that rose a lot of prices all over the world. The Ukraine or Russia situation didn't help either. So everything was struggling because of the circumstances, and Donald Trump made people trust in him, believe in him, put doubt in everything else. And then based off your interpretation on the circumstances that what you have to deal with every single day, you blame COVID on Biden, You blame the economy on Biden. You blame the immigration on Biden, even though all those numbers that were coming in was after Title 42 was rescinded. And it's just easy. Trump said this. This is how I feel. This is what I see. Context doesn't matter. Understanding why the way things are the way they are, it doesn't matter. Because if I were to ask you why the economy is so great on Trump, what did Trump do? You wouldn't be able to answer. If I asked you what exactly did Biden do to cause the economy the way they are, you didn't answer. If I asked you why the prices were up in the first place, you wouldn't be able to answer. So information and the splintering of the left are key reasons I believe Kamala Harris lost the election. So now let's really talk about Donald Trump. Let's talk about some of the things that he plans to do. I'll give my personal opinion on whether I think this is a good or bad thing. And we will see if he does it in the first place. So I have a list. Shout out PolitiFact for getting the whole list kind of orchestrated for this conversation. Let's start out with immigration. Donald Trump made it very clear that he wants to create have a large deportation circumstance, right? He wants to deport a lot of immigrants. I'm sure that's going to involve in changing the asylum process to make it more strict. I'm sure it's going to involving even petty crimes into the mix. And it's going to involve in splitting up a lot of families. Will Donald Trump get rid of all the immigrants? We will see. What will happen if he get rid of all the immigrants? Well, it's very possible that the economy is worse off because of how much money they input into the economy. They're doing the jobs that Americans don't want to do. But based off of MAGA talking points, the assumption is you get rid of all these illegal immigrants, and all of the American people are going to do those jobs that the illegal immigrants are doing, and it should be fine. We shall see. Will he build a border wall? That's something he's been saying he's going to do for a very long time. And now he has control over all three branches of government. There's really no excuse not to be able to build a wall in the southern border. And MAGA, you have no reason to complain about your tax dollars being spent on the border wall. What will it do? Will it do anything? We shall see. He talked about ending birthright citizenship, which I think is crazy. I think it's insane. And this is something that was put in place due to slavery. And people who are born in this country not having the immediate right to call themselves as American, it just defeats the purpose of being America. We're supposed to be the melting pot. We're supposed to incentivize people to come to America. This will just make it worse. Our population is not getting any better, ladies and gentlemen. I completely disagree with this notion. And if you are born here, you're an American. Make it very simple. But if we start picking and choosing who gets the right to be an American, well, it gets more and more fascist by the day. He also wants to potentially restore and expand the travel ban. He did that for Muslim countries, of course. He could expand it to other countries, including North Korea, Chad, and Venezuela. We'll see how this works. Biden did get rid of this executive order. This is something he used prominently due to COVID and the lockdowns. So who is he going to ban from coming into America? Well, we shall see. Again, potentially more fascist tendencies. Potentially sending more troops to the border, we'll see. I mean, try to get a border bill passed before Donald Trump wanted to use it as a talking point. So there's really no reason why you won't send more patrol agents and get more judges for the asylum process. There's no excuse to make this process at the border more efficient. So this is another thing he said he's going to do. Keep on going. He says he wants to suspend refugee resettlement. He paused the refugee resettlement program for 120 days and considered lowering the cap to 0 but instead reduce the cap each year from President Barack Obama. I mean, Donald Trump is making it clear he wants very certain people to come into the country, other people he doesn't care about what you got going on. So we'll see. He wants to terminate the CBP One app, an app that is used to make setting appointments to go to court and do the asylum process and start filing paperwork and everything. He wants to eliminate that. Why? I don't know. It makes it the whole process more smooth. You're not becoming an asylum seeker because of the app. You're setting an appointment to become an asylum seeker because of the app, using technology to make it a process that is already backed up more efficient. But let's just make the process more tedious, I guess, and make it even harder for immigrants to come into the country. We shall see. He said he wanted to revoke the student visas of radical anti-American and anti-Semitic foreigners at colleges and universities. He's going to pick and choose which people he wants in the country or not. And I think it's kind of wild because the freedom of protest and the freedom of the press and the freedom of speech are big principles. So much so that Elon Musk was trying to buy votes with $1 million. Now people are going to get into the semantics of like, no, the $1 million are just for people to vote. It's not to vote for Trump. It's kind of interesting on how much leeway MAGA is willing to give one side versus the other. But with that said, potentially calling people anti-American and kicking them out of the country because they expressed their freedom of speech to protest against the Israel-Palestine war. Again, fascist tendencies. But we shall see if he does that. Giving college graduates, including those from junior colleges, a green card to be able to stay legally in the U.S. I mean, let me read this. Changes in eligibility for permanent resident status, also known as receiving a green card, will require congressional action. Congress has not passed reforms to the immigration system in decades. I feel like this is not a bad one. I mean, you graduate college in America, you get your green card. I'm not mad at it. This is one that I can't say anything bad about. Permanent work permits for immigrants in the U.S. illegally. So those people who are waiting for the asylum process in America and trying to set up, family. They're trying to create something for their family while they're here, a shelter, some food, and all that stuff. Meanwhile, these people are set up for asylum, meaning they're waiting to get heard and go to court. Those people are now not allowed to work, apparently Trump. So they're just going to be starving and homeless in America waiting for the asylum process that can take years to officially get committed to be a legal immigrant. We'll see. Make it illegal to distribute welfare benefits to immigrants in the U.S. illegally. Again, similar to what I said about work, the same people are just not going to get welfare as well. Invoke the Alien Enemies Act to deport gang members. In 1798, law was created when the U.S. feared an impending war with France. It allows the president to arrest, detain, and deport people without due process. Arrest, detain, and deport people without due process under certain circumstances. So, will Donald Trump utilize not only his immunity, but potentially the fact that he has all three branches of the government that will allow him to do whatever he wants? If he thinks that you're a traitor to this country, he can just kick you out. Kind of insane. Kind of insane. Designate drug cartels as foreign national organizations. Not really mad at this. No reason why this shouldn't happen. I do think cartels, there's really no benefit from them. So call them a terrorist group. I don't know. I guess it depends on how resources and how priorities are applied to a affiliation of being a terrorist organization. But no love, no loss here. I'm not mad at this one. He wants to create a compensation fund from the seized assets of criminal gangs to support victims of migrant crime. He wants to steal their resources and give it to the victims. I don't know. It depends on how this is done. I'm not going to be too angry at this. Revoke the temporary protected status of Haitians in Springfield, Ohio. So based off a lie that they were eating cats and dogs, he wants to take away their legal status. Definitely fascist. So those are some of the stuff regarding immigration. We got plenty more. We're talking about everything. So stay tuned, of course. But a lot of very fascist ideology and tendencies, fascist rhetoric from some of the things that Trump said he would do. Some things are cool and okay. I'm not mad at. So Trump doesn't have a 100% evil record, but we carry on. We'll see if he does that. Let's talk about the economy. So Donald Trump says he wants to add a tariff of 10% to 20% to all non-domestic goods sold in America, add a 60% tariff on goods from China, and institute a reciprocal tariff policy. So reciprocal tariff policy, depending on how it's done, I don't know if I'm upset about that. Tariff all across the board is stupid. Every economist said it's stupid. If he does it, the economy of America is cooked. And a 60% tariff on China is a lot. A lot. I'm not going to lie. So we shall see. That is not ideal. But if he said he's going to do it, will he do it? It was to ban U.S. companies from investing in Chinese companies and ban Chinese companies from investing in U.S. companies. It's interesting how people are saying that we're supposed to broker peace and some certain level of civility. He just wants to break ties with China altogether. Man, I'm not going to be able to get any of my items from Wish no more. What about Temu? Temu's cooked too, man. That's tough. Adopt a 4-year plan to phase out Chinese imports. It wants to get rid of all Chinese goods. What about Chinese food? We're not getting Chinese food. The amount of stuff that is Chinese that we get, it's going to be kind of crazy to just break off entirely from China, but we'll see. That's what he said he's going to want to do. Provide a middle class, upper class, lower class, business class, big tax cut. For the most part, Donald Trump's tax cuts disproportionately help the wealthy. The middle class, the lower class, they do not benefit either at all or not even close to as much as the wealthy. So the tax cuts are for people that he cares about, his peers and himself. So, hey man, if you're rich, you're going to love that. He wants to end taxation on Social Security. Seniors should not pay taxes on Social Security. Don't have a strong stance on that one. Social Security, I do think, is good. Will this be a good thing for Social Security in the long run, depending on who he picks to choose, who's not getting taxed for Social Security, because that would decrease the amount of Social Security in the long run? Hard to say. But it's a wait and see. We need more details from that. And taxation on tips. I mean, I don't care, to be honest. I don't care. I think taxes are good. I think taxes are good for the country. Sucks for the individual. I mean, I'm not upset that you are upset that you get taxed, but you need to realize that taxes have an inherent purpose. I don't really care about the taxation on tips. And taxation on overtime. That will incentivize people to do more overtime. Incentivize people to maybe do less work. It could incentivize companies to not have overtime at all. Don't have a strong stance on this one. Reduce taxation for Americans living overseas. Some of the Americans living abroad pay taxes to both the U.S. and a foreign country, although they can deduct taxes they pay to the foreign government. Critics suggest that this could incentivize higher income Americans to move to. I didn't even think about this. Reducing taxes on Americans living overseas, those millionaires and billionaires that put their companies in foreign soil, they're just going to be paying less and less taxes. Like he is helping his buddies out. The rich are benefiting so much from not getting taxed. Oh my goodness. Hey man, will America improve? Who knows? Reduce the corporate tax, again, helping his buddies. Put a temporary cap on credit card interest rates. Interest rates for credit cards. I'm not mad at that one, personally. Cut car insurance rates. I don't know. I don't even know how he would do this, but these are things he said he's going to do, so I'm just bringing it up. Cut car insurance rates, how he's going to by 50%. Cut car insurance rate by 50%. So I'm expecting my insurance rate to be cut by 50%, Trump. Make interest on car loans tax deductibles. We'll see how this plays out. I'm wait and see for that one. Make a tax deductible to purchase a home generator. Okay, tax deductible. Let me find out because I know what a tax deductible is, but I want to get the actual definition for anybody listening to see like what exactly will this do for me, right? That's like the main question, right? A tax deductible is an expense that an individual taxpayer or business can subtract from the adjusted gross income. So I did know this, but I wanted to get the right definition for you. The deductible expense reduces taxable income and therefore reduces the amount of income taxes owed. So ultimately, I mean, it sounds good, but again, the only people benefiting this is the rich. So the rich is benefiting from tax deductible for the home generator and a tax deductible for car loans. That's just the more wealthy people really benefiting from that. This stuff doesn't really. This stuff, like, let's be honest, this does not help the low income. It does, the low income to the middle class. The middle class, it barely helps. Low income, it doesn't help at all. Restore the state and local tax deduction. More tax deductions for his rich friends. Stop China from buying land in the U.S. I mean, I'm not too mad at that one. Create freedom cities. I don't even know what this means. Trump would hold a national contest to charter up to 10 new cities on a very small portion of federal land and award these charters to the best ideas and proposals for development. Trump billed this contest to boost U.S. industry and build fast growing cities from scratch. The plan aims to reopen the frontier, reignite American imagination, and give hundreds of thousands of young people and other people, all hardworking families, a new shot at home ownership and affect the American dream. He said the land would not infringe on national parks or other national treasures. Well, how does he plan to create these freedom cities? Where does he plan to create these freedom? This sounds so idealistic, but hey, man, we'll see if Trump does this. Freedom cities. Donald Trump said he's going to do freedom cities. Again, I just want to reemphasize, I am putting out everything that Donald Trump said he's going to do. So there's really no excuse for the economy not getting better. There's no excuse for immigration not getting better. There's no excuse for the wars not being solved. We're going through all of it. And I better not hear any backtracking from the MAGA. Creating baby bonuses for young parents. Trump didn't specify how this idea would work, but Democrats have previously supported baby bonus proposals. Baby bonuses, I mean, if this, like when I heard it, I don't even know exactly what this means, but I'm not mad at it. Like a bonus for, it just incentivizes people to have families. I'm not mad. I'm never mad at that. Oppose corporate bailouts. Trump has focused his opposition to government bailouts to those for banks, which collapse. Okay, so we don't bail out certain corporations. I feel like Donald Trump is going to pick and choose. I think Donald Trump is going to go like this. Oh, you're not in line with what I got to say. So I'm not bailing you out from your bankruptcy. We'll see. I feel like that's going to be a huge political strategy. He says he's going to end the Russian-Ukraine war within 24 hours. So we'll love to see that. How will he end it? Well, I think this is going to happen. Ukraine is going to get completely taken over by Russia. I feel like that's the only way. He's like, hey, all the resources I'm sending to Ukraine, give it to Russia. Because Putin and Trump, they're friends. Target Chinese ownership of U.S. vital infrastructure. More of his China rhetoric. I mean, I'm like hit or miss depending on how well this stuff would work. Hold Chinese financially responsible for the COVID-19. I don't know how you're going to do that. Partner with business and universities to help them protect against Chinese surveillance and cyber attacks. That's not a bad idea. Construct an Iron Dome-like missile defense system for the U.S. Not only will we get a wall, but we'll get an Iron Dome. Hey, man, if we make America safe again. Provide record-breaking military funding. So we're going to give more money to the military. Record-breaking money to the military. Okay, interesting. No new wars, by the way. Withdraw from the World Health Organization. Trump has criticized the World Health Organization, including for its perceived closeness to China, which he said is compromised. So, okay, we're just going to remove ourselves from national organization. Um, he wants to leave Social Security and Medicare unchanged. He said he's going to leave it unchanged. He's going to leave concepts of a healthcare plan, all that stuff. We'll see. Keep the Social Security retirement age unchanged. We'll see. Either have the government pay for or require insurers to pay for in vitro fertilization treatment. I don't know. He says he's cool with abortion and called himself the father of fertilization or something like that. Kind of cringe. We'll see. Give a tax credit for family caregivers who take care of a parent or a loved one. That's a good one. Create a presidential task force to investigate the rise in chronic health problems, including autism, autoimmune disorders, and obesity. RFJ is going to take over that. He's going to get rid of fluoride out of all foods, all chemicals out of foods. We got to naturally grow it all, man. We'll see. RFK is apparently this health genius, so we'll see if this works out. Ban urban camping and arrest violators. I guess screw homeless people. That's what it sounds like. Create 10 cities where the homeless can be moved. Issued a ruling in 2024 that empowers jurisdictions to remove homeless people. Trump's proposals could push their powers even further. So send all the homeless people to specific areas, specific camps. I'm just saying. I don't know. And veteran homelessness. Save the veteran people. I'm all for that. We'll see if he does that. Abolish the education department. Screw education, man. All private education or on public education, screw that. Doesn't matter. Spend more per pupil on education than any country in the world. Might conflict with the one to eliminate the education department. It's not clear whether this money would come from federal coffers. I don't even know what this means. Provide universal school choice. So school choice. If everybody goes to private schools, then I mean that low income people, when it comes down to education, are gonna the disproportionality because of these potential ideas can be dangerous. Could be. Provide $10,000 per child tax credit to homeschoolers. Yeah, get taught by your very informed and very smart parents. Make sure homeschoolers can access the same experience that in-school students have with less knowledge, less education, and less ability to teach. But sure. I'm not mad at homeschooling, but I think you need to be capable to homeschool. Most parents are not, but that's just me. I mean, there's a reason why people go to, get a degree to teach students, a secondary, a postgraduate degree. Create new credentialing body for teachers. This could be good, but depends on what those credentials are. Probably going to say, are you gay? No, you're not allowed to teacher. Are you gay? You're not allowed to be a teacher. So we'll see. Abolish teacher tenure for grades K through 12. Yeah, fuck teachers. Won't give federal dollars to schools that have a vaccine mandate. Yeah, fuck vaccines. Everybody gets sick. Enable prayer and other religious activities in public schools. Fuck freedom. Fuck separation of state, church and state. Fuck that. Order the Justice Department to open investigation to any school that participate in race-based discrimination. Yeah, man. Races against white people. Hey, man, you get investigated. Now, this could be good for Black people too and Latino people. Let's see if this is evenly distributed in a Republican majority. We'll see. Stop funding colleges that engage in censorship. I wonder if they're going to be consistent with this idea of engage in censorship. We shall see. You want to talk about LGBT stuff? Fuck no. Censorship? Of course not. Offer more low-cost post-secondary degree options. I agree with that. Increase funding for schools with job and career counselors. I agree with that. Create a competition for high school athletes called the Patriots Games. That is cringe as hell. That, not gonna lie, Patriot Games. That sounds really cringe. Okay. Fully pardon people convicted of crimes related to the storming. Yeah, if you support Trump, regardless if you invaded the Capitol or not, you're good. As long as you support me, you're never a criminal. Appoint a special prosecutor to go after Joe Biden and his family. Yeah, I'm going to prosecute all my enemies. They're all going to jail because I said so. Fascists, of course, but it is what it is. Seek the death penalty for child rapists and child traffickers. I'm actually not mad at that one. Impose the death penalty for set. Whoa, whoa. Impose the death penalty for selling drugs. Death penalty is wild, but we shall see. Encourage stop and frisking policing. Okay, fair. Increase punishments for juvenile offenders. Yeah, man. Death penalty. You sold drugs. That's not funny. That's not funny. Um, Increase punishments. Okay. Increase liberty protections for police officers. Yeah, police officers. More immunity. Let's do it. More immunity, police. Who cares you're being racist? You get more immunity. Invest record amounts in American police. Could be a good thing. I advocate for more police funding. Expand concealed carry rights. Everybody has a gun. You have a gun. I have a gun. Everybody has a gun. Overturn Biden's policing effects affecting gun ownerships and manufacturers because we need more guns in America. We need everybody to have a gun. Investigate federal arrests of conservatives and Christians. Yeah, if they support me, then I wonder if he's going to do this for Jewish people. Commute the sentence of Silk Road website operator Raj Urbite. Made his promise to the Libertarian Party when he was seeking the party's endorsement. Uber has been in prison since 2013. He was sentenced to 2 life terms that include responsible for 6 deaths that resulted from drugs sold on his website. So, death penalty for drugs, but I want this guy endorsed me, so he's cool though. Okay. Require proof of citizenship at the polls. What does that mean? Bring my birth certificate when I go vote? Interesting. Require voter ID at the polls. I really don't care. I mean, sure. Require only paper ballots. What is the obsession with paper ballots, man? Donald Trump won the election and we still need paper ballots? Like, come on. Can I do paper ballots over mail? Because I don't want to. I like mail-in ballots. I don't feel like going somewhere to vote. Count all votes on election night. Okay. Sign legislation recognizing only 2 genders assigned at birth. Only male and female, man. Only male and female. Sign legislation banning trans women from participating in women's sports. Amen. As I feel like if it's like college and up, sure. But like ultimate frisbee, do we need to ban women from women from male sports or trans women from women's sports? I don't know. I think it's a condition by condition basis. But overall, I don't think they should be competing in the same thing. Reinstate the transgender ban in the military. Fuck transgender people. Making it a felony or any medical professional to perform surgery on a minor without parental consent. Without parental consent, I agree with. I think you do need parental consent. Have the Justice Department investigate pharmaceutical companies and hospitals to see if they have been hiding the negative impacts of gender reassignment surgery. Sure. Sign legislation outlawing gender-related surgeries for minors. That doesn't happen, so sure. Promote the nuclear family and traditional gender roles in public schools. Fuck LGBTQ. If you're gay, you're wrong. I don't know how that's going to work. And federal programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition. Fuck LGBTQ studies. Fuck them all. Mandate that any child identity changes have parental consent. A child? Sure. Yeah, I agree. Empower the president to remove rogue bureaucrats. How we define what rogue bureaucrats are going to be completely subjective. It's basically whoever is not loyal to me, you're gone. Okay. Establish a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to investigate the deep state. Yeah, if you're not a billionaire that supports me, you're part of the deep state. Only billionaires that support me are not part of the deep state, right? Yeah. Let's make the richer rich. Let's make the rich richer, and let's put a bunch of billionaires and elites into office. But that's not the deep state. Gotcha. Require federal employees to pass the civil service test. Sure, valid. Cut the federal government's budget every year. Cut the budget every year. So they're cutting the budget every year. More military funding, record-breaking military funding, cutting the federal budget, and less taxes. Curious how this is going to work. Create a government efficiency commission that will eliminate fraud and improper payments. Depends on what he means by this, so we'll see. Challenge limits on the president's ability to cut federal spending. Hey man, would never spend, even though Trump had record-breaking spending when he was in office, but whatever. Revoke federal initiatives on diversity, equity, inclusion. Yeah, fuck opportunity for the low income and disenfortunate. Fuck them. Only the rich deserve chances. Create a restriction fund for people who have been harmed by diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. Yeah, a black person got chosen in front of you, even though your credentials are exactly the same. No, we need more white people. More white people. Credentials are the same. It's the white person who should get it. W racism. Ban any federal department from restricting free speech. Sure. Establish an audited system to make sure agencies aren't spying on citizens. Yeah, fuck national security. Fuck it. No national security here. If you're a terrorist in this country, we won't want you. Have the federal government take over the management of Washington, D.C. Sure. Ban federal workers from taking jobs at companies they regulated. Sure, I guess. Institute a 7-year cooling off period for employees of national security agencies before they can get a job in which they handle America's data. Sure. Crack down on government officials who leak. I don't know, because the Republicans love whistleblowers, so only if you leak information on the other side, you're cool. If you leak information on us, you're cooked. Cut off federal funding for NPR. Okay. Leave the Paris Climate Accord. Trump's again pulling the U.S. out of the Paris Climate Accords that aim to reduce worldwide carbon emissions. Yeah, fuck the world. We want more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Eliminate mandates for electric cars. Yeah. I'm so curious to see what Elon Musk thinks about this. Approve liquefied natural gas terminals in one day. I don't know whether or not this is a good or bad thing, so no comment really. Issued an executive order ending offshore wind energy development. Yeah, fuck windmills. Donald Trump hates windmills. Fuck windmills. Renewable energy. Fuck it. Make America energy the cheapest in the world. How? Don't know, but we'll see. Lower energy costs within the first year by 50%. How? I don't know, but we'll see. Fill up the strategic petroleum reserve immediately. More drilling. Drill, baby, drill. More drilling. Modernize and build new electric grid system. How it'll work? I don't know. Fuck windmills. Sign a bill revisiting Section 230 for tech platforms. What is Section 230? I think it's a free speech thing. Yeah, it's a free speech thing. Okay. Let adults opt out of content moderation on social media platforms. Yeah, fuck moderation. Look up whatever you want on social media. Require court orders to take down online content. Yeah, if it only content that is allowed is content that I don't want to be allowed. That is defaming me. They're not allowed. Only content that is destroying the other side. Require social media platforms to have an appeals process when accounts are banned. I agree. Require social media platforms to increase enforcement of child exploitation terrorism posts. Depending on how this is done, I agree to that. Promote research and development for vertical takeoff flying cars. Sure. Okay. Establish a beautification campaign to improve the appearance of American cities. Sure. Let's get rid of all homeless people and immigrants, and then we'll be good. Sign an order to construct the National Garden of American Heroes. Sure. Create a Great American State Fair. Sure. And that's it. That's everything. I wanted to go through all the stuff that he said he's going to do. So you can decide on whether or not you agree with the things that he says. You can decide whether or not this is good for the country. I am now going to wait and see. That is where I'm at. Wait and see. So appreciate everybody who tuned in, listen, or watch this on the YouTube channel. Y'all have a good one. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to riot. I recommend everybody else do the same. So take care, and God bless America.